Stoned. Drink wet cement. Oh, ha ha.
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Hello, greetings, and welcome. Welcome to the Stereo 999 YouTube channel. I am your host, the artist formerly known as Stereo Steve, and I'm kicking it in my entertainment dungeon with my pal, Mr. Gopher. Say hi, Mr. Gopher.
Hi, Mr. Gopher.
See, look, Contigo. No basic Stanley hair. So this is another one of those videos where I just at the last minute came up with an idea, and it was kind of borrowed. I'm thinking, okay, what was the last VC video that I watched? And it was Cosmic Brian's last video, where he actually managed to land an interview with Batman, and it kind of confirmed some of my suspicions that Batman was actually kind of a jerk, because, if you're a fan of Wesley Willis, the schizophrenic street singer discovered by Jello Biafra, these are his drawings on these albums. But anyway, this is Wesley Willis' Greatest Hits, Volume 1. And there's a song on here called I Whooped Batman's Ass. And, a lot of people think that those songs that have characters are just a metaphor for his schizophrenia. But I think he really did meet Batman, and Batman pissed him off, and he gave Batman a piece of his mind. And so I'm thinking, I should talk about this record. Because if you've seen my OG, I should talk about this record. And, if you've been watching my videos for a while, and when I'm filming sitting on the couch with the phone camera on a little stand, so it's like going up my nose, you see this record in a frame in the background. And in a frame is my original copy of this record. And this is a nice reissue that I picked up at a swap, a label called Universe, which is a division of Comet Records, which I think was an Italian label. But anyway, this record, which you've probably seen many times, Batman and Robin, featuring Batman theme by the sensational guitars of Dan and Dale, actually has a really interesting cast of studio musicians that made the music on this record. It's probably a quick gig to make a couple bucks back in the 60s, because that was the style at the time. But the guitarist from Blues Project, and none other than Sun Ra on the organ on this record. This reissue has a gatefold with some actual Batman comics in it, which is kind of contrasting the more generic looking front cover here. Did I have anything else with DC characters? Well, way back in the 80s, I was obsessed with the Kinks, and I bought anything Kinks that I could get my hands on, and this was a very special find. This is a bootleg compilation called Collectible Kinks, a colossal comprehensive collection of quite rare classic cuts culled from the archives. And it does indeed have Wish I Could Fly Like Superman. And it kind of spans their career from their first single, Long Tall Sally, all the way up until Wish I Could Fly Like Superman. And the coolest thing, well, one of the cool things about this is the label. It's on Reprieve Records. I don't know how well you can see this, but it's like a guy in an electric chair. Reprieve Records. And if you're a real serious Kinks nerd, you will also recognize the catalog number RS6309, which was the catalog number for Four More Respected Gentlemen, the Kinks album that was supposed to come out in 1967, but was never released. Yeah, so, yeah. That video also made me realize that I do not talk about 60s garage rock enough. I don't think I've ever done an episode entirely focused on 60s garage rock, and I thought that might be a cool thing to do. Of course, you know, I can never stick 100% to any one kind of theme, so there might be some retro bands, there might be some more psych adjacent stuff, but I just pulled a stack of records off of my shelf, and I'm just gonna pick them up and talk about them and let the chips fall where they may. This one I've talked about before. This is Public Execution by Mouse and the Traps. You might know that song from the Nuggets compilation, and it's kind of a Bob Dylan ripoff, but listening to a whole album of them, you realize that there's a lot more to this band than just that. And they are pretty rockin'. And it's on the Eva label, which was a French, most likely bootleg label from the 80s. But, you know, if you were into 60s garage bands in the 80s, you had records on the Eva label. In fact, one of the first ones I ever got was on Eva. We'll get to that in a little bit. This one is really good. This is on Sundazed. It's Ain't It Hard, Sunset Strip 60s Sounds, Garage and Psych from Viva Records. I guess all these tracks were on this one label. And I got it because it had the kind of psychedelic Apothecary Dream by the Sound Sandwich, which was on the first Psychedelic Unknowns. But everything on this comp is good, you know. Everything from kind of poppy psychedelic stuff to hard garage tracks. Ain't it hard? That's what she said. Found this in a thrift store. This is the Kingsmen, who did Louie Louie. This record is called Up and Away on the Wand label. And they are kind of branching out a little bit on this record. They do covers of Wild Thing, Under My Thumb, Tossin' and Turnin'. They do the Beatles' If I Needed Someone, Land of a Thousand Dances, Mustang Sally. I think there was a law that every band had to do Mustang Sally. And yeah, Up. Do they do Up, Up and Away in My Beautiful Balloon? Or I don't think they do, even though that's the title. But yeah, Kingsmen. What would be maybe the first 60s garage psych record that I ever owned? Might be this. Might be the Seeds Web of Sound on GNP Crescendo label. Yeah, it's a nice mono copy. There are a lot of different pressings of this, and it's easier to find than it seems if you have some determination. But this guy Saxon, he's got a kitty. Meow. Yeah. But I always liked the liner notes. Sky, Daryl, Jan, and Rick, the Seeds will mount the great white stallion and go forth into the land of darkness and look for the switch to make it light. Okay. And this one was in the same stack of records as that Seeds record. This was Out of Sight by the Liverpool Five. They were English. They weren't actually from Liverpool. That was just a clever name. And they were on the RCA Victor label. And their sound is like, you know, vocal-wise, instrumentation-wise, just a little more raw than you expect, which is totally a good thing. Pretty tuneful, but they do good versions of My Generation, Any Way You Want Me, I Can Only Give You Everything, Baby Out of Sight is kind of cool, sort of title track. Do You Believe is cool. Nice version of The Snake, you know, do a little blues with Hoochie Coochie Man. It's a fascinating blend of harmonies and rhythms. Yeah, they made 2 albums, and this is their second album. Okay, we're getting sort of kind of retro now. Next record in this stack. This is Nas, Nomad, and the Nightmares. I might have talked about this record before in the past. Give Daddy the Knife, Cindy, the original soundtrack, which there's no movie, but if you're familiar with the Dukes of Stratosphere and how they were actually XTC, Nas, Nomad, and the Nightmares were actually the Damned. And they're doing some classic 60s covers here. Action Woman, Nobody But Me, Wind Blows Your Hair by the Seeds, I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night. So this is a fun record, if you find it. The Cynics with Blue Train Station. I'm not sure exactly when this came out because I didn't really find a date on the label and I didn't feel like Googling it. But they made a bunch of records and this is a good one. And they cover one of my favorite 60s garage songs. Real snotty garage banger called Ain't No Friend of Mine. Originally done by a group called the Sparkles, I think. But yeah, Cynics. Okay, this one I picked up for the cover. I only listened to it a couple of times, but this is Los Cogars. And this is another one of my favorite bad old movies, Rat Fink a Boo Boo, which is actually kind of a parody of Batman and Robin. And Kogar was the gorilla that shows up halfway through the movie, just to make chaos and prevent the plot from making any sense. But yeah, Los Cogars.
This old jalopy don't run out of steam, but we're gonna make of that a go-go scene.
Okay, are these 3D glasses gonna make me dizzy yet? I don't know. I'm wearing them because I don't like the way the lamp reflects in my eyes, you know. Nothing more metaphysical than that. I mean, I could put them behind the glass. No. Let's just keep doing it like this. More Eva records. This is Kenny and the Casuals. Nothing better to do. And I think sometime in the 80s they got back together, and the reunion record is pretty good, but I never picked it up. But I do have this. This is a collection of their early singles, and this has the great track Journey to Time, which is another variation on that. Riff that you hear in 13th Floor Elevators, Tried to Hide, and Come On Now by the Kinks. But yeah, Kenny and the Casuals, good rockin' band. Alright, this is the first Eva record that I ever got. This band is We the People. The album's called Declaration of Independence. And like most of these, they're bands that only put out singles during their time. They were from Florida, and they did the original version of In the Past that the Chocolate Watch Band later did. And they had a song called When I Arrive, which is the song that I crank up when I'm in a certain grumpy ass mood. I heard the song on the radio, like on the old KPFA Maxim Rock and Roll when they were doing punk oldies and playing 60s tracks. But I heard When I Arrive, and I bought Pebbles Volume 7 for that track, which was the first Pebbles compilation I ever bought. But Tom Talton from We the People, in the 70s he played with the Allman Brothers for a while, and he had his own country rock band called Cowboy. Just to flex my triviosity here. Okay, this next one in the stack is an all-time classic, Psychotic Reaction by the Count 5. And yeah, this is another one of them sketchy labels, a Karma. This is a Karma reissue of this, probably from like the 2000s. I think it's got a couple of bonus tracks, but great band. I mean, besides besides Psychotic Reaction, you know, Pretty Big Mouth and Double Decker Bus, Peace of Mind, there's some good songs. And, you know, this inspired Lester Bangs to write one of his most hilarious screeds. And I'm going to close it off with the all-time classic, with the record that most people start with, Nuggets, original artifacts from the first psychedelic era, 1965 to 1968, compiled by Lenny Kaye, the guitarist, and there was an interview with him in Ugly Things where he clarified that the first psychedelic era were these bands that were putting out singles and short songs, and the second psychedelic era was later in the 60s, bands like The Dead doing long jams. But if you had the Nuggets compilation back then, you had this late 70s reissue on Sire. You didn't have the 1972 original version on Elektra, because that was damn near impossible to find. But yeah, of course I'm making generalizations here, but yeah, this is pretty much your 60s garage rock starter kit. Electric Prunes, Standells, The Strange Ones, 13th Floor Elevators, The Seeds, Chocolate Watch Band, The Nazz with Todd Rundgren. Good stuff. Okay, man. Peace. Oh, show and tell. It's just a game I play when I want to show you some records. So like and subscribe, and you'll see them next time too. Oh, baby. Okay then, that's my video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and peace.